Stage of your career, how good a situation is it coming to an organization, whether you get a chance to play with the Maple Leafs or the Marlies?
Oh, I mean, that was a huge decision, reason why I chose signing with Toronto. Just the first-class organization, the pressure and the need to win down in both teams. I mean, that was a big thing. When I was talking with Kyle, he stressed that they want to win in both teams. And if I could help the Maple Leafs in any way, I'm definitely on board to do whatever they want. And if they want me to be a leader and help lead, whether it's offensively or leadership, to win down in the Marlies and to guide, to be a good pro for the young guys, I want to do that too. And being, like we just talked about, grew up in Buffalo, close to home. I got 2 kids now, so parents get to see them. So that's always an added bonus since I've been out west for so long. But just the way Toronto treats both teams as a whole, one organization, I think is the way you're supposed to be treated. A lot of times organizations maybe forget about the minor league team, but Toronto, from what I've learned this past 2 weeks and from what people have told me, it's basically still get treated like the NHL down in the AHL, and I think that pushes guys to want to make the NHL and to realize how special it is to play for an organization like this, and it only makes you better as a player.
You mentioned 2 kids, and the beauty of this organization is if you get called up, your wife and children aren't on their own for a period of time. It's just change the direction as far as what rink you're going to.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, we got to come right into training camp and get a house and get settled, and a lot of times that's, in past years, my wife is like, should I come? And I'm like, well, I don't know if I'll be here. When I was in Nashville, there would be times where I'd be called up to Nashville and she'd be in Milwaukee and she'd hop on a plane, and literally as she got off, I would get sent down and she'd have to literally stay in the airport and we'd have to fly back. So that's a huge thing as far as families and being settled right away and focusing on hockey. A lot of times during camp, you're worried about, is your family coming, whether it's your wife, girlfriend, or fiance, if you have kids. Do they have to stay in a hotel? Now we got, I've been settled now for 3 weeks, learned the city, been familiar with the area, and now I can focus on hockey and getting ready for the season, which I think is huge for a new guy coming in.
I think this is your 12th professional team. Is this good for you to establish some roots, especially with a young family?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a first-class, top organization to be with, in the NHL and the game, and as far as the American League, probably the top organization to be with too. So being so close to home, I mean, I live from Buffalo but live in Michigan, which is only 4 hours away. So we're talking the last 2 years I've been in Anaheim, San Diego, and Arizona and Tucson. That's 40 hours away. So when you're only 4 hours from your home and 2 hours from where you grew up, it's pretty special, and it feels like home. I mean, growing up, I think I played in Toronto as a little kid more than I played in Buffalo, just because that's where the good hockey was. So it's a great feeling, basically coming home to play, because you're so close, and we're settled now, and I get to focus on hockey, and my family's been up to see me a bunch and see the kids, so it's just a really good feeling that way off the ice, which I think translates to success on the ice.
Ron Hainsey talked about the fine line of winning championships and not. Take me back to the spring of 2014, Game 7, down in Texas. You're playing the Marlies and you're down by a couple of goals. As good a team as Texas had back then. I mean, it was a fine line separating you guys from going to the next round in St. John's.
Yeah, I mean, we've still talked some of the Texas guys, and I remember Kenny Ryan, who I became friends with, and you played in San Diego. That was, I thought, the championship series for sure. Toronto had a tough team. They were, basically a professional team as you could get as far as NHL, just with size and the way they carried themselves and the confidence they played with. And when we went down 2-0, it wasn't easy, I can tell you that. It was one of the first times all season that Texas team questioned itself, and we came out and ended up scoring, I think, 5 or 6 goals. So it ended up our way. But I mean, like you said, and then we went on in the finals and we won 3 games in overtime in St. John, so that could have went either way too. So it's a fine line, and that was definitely a big series and one of the probably best series I've been a part of to go to the Calder Cup finals, and now I'm happy to be a part of Toronto this time.